Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Hey yo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
All right, sorry about the delay. I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube, but it took a few minutes to get it live tonight. And hey, welcome into Rockhound Detroit Lions. I know it's been a long time since we've done an evening show, especially a Rockhound Detroit Lions podcast in the evening. But we have some rookie minicamp stuff to talk about. We have some big news for the channel to talk about. Also, using a different mic tonight, so things could sound a little bit different. I'd love your feedback in the comments in the live chat. Let me know what's happening. I'm going to try to fix it while the Shure microphone is getting fixed. It's over in Chicago. They're probably just going to send a new one, but it is what it is. We're going to do what we can do and get through it. So big news tonight I want to share with you guys. First, I want to say, well, congratulations or happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Where would we be without you? This is your day. Try not to interrupt it a whole lot. So we're going to get in and we're going to get out. But let me bring in the special guest of the evening and the big announcement for the show. That is Corey Besh. Corey, what's happening?
Long time no see, man.
Yeah, it's been a week. So Corey and I have had some conversations over the last week. As you guys know, this is Ahmed Hassanin's brother, and we did a really good interview last week. And Corey took to heart, I guess, me saying he probably should be on a sports desk. Now, I'm not the only one that's told him that. The guy's got the gift. He's decided to join the Rockhound Podcast Network and do some podcasting with me, with the channel. And I'm super excited. I know you guys are going to be super excited. So, Corey, why don't you just take it away and tell us kind of what they should expect? We don't really know what we're going to do for the show just yet, but hey, tell them what they should expect from you.
Yeah, chat. I just want to first reiterate what Will said, man. Glad to be here. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. If my mom is on the chat, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Appreciate you. My wife who's in the house, maybe listening, appreciate you. Man, it's great to be here. It's great to take advantage of that opportunity that Will was talking about. And I'm looking forward to being part of the Rockhound Podcast Network to give you guys some content that maybe is not elsewhere around YouTube or around the internet, to give you some insights that maybe you're not going to hear. Some maybe because of my connections, but more because of just who I am and my own history. I'm excited to bring a little bit of Corey to the channel and not just the brotherly connection to Ahmed. So you're going to hear a little bit more from me and what I have to offer. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
So a couple of things that I want to try to clarify a little bit. So number one, very, very, I mean, this is as close as you can get to a connection to an NFL team without inside the team, or myself having a direct brother as part of the team. So that's very good for the channel because I think that we'll be able to have some more access and some things that maybe other people don't. But the important thing is whenever I'm using any inside sources or sources, I want everybody to know that that's not coming from Ahmed unless it's sourced. And I say that. I don't ever want to put his relationship with the team or anything like that in jeopardy. So if I'm using sources, it's coming from me. It's coming from my sources. It's not coming from Corey. And Corey will do the same. He'll let you know what he's saying or what he's allowed to say, so on and so forth. So I just want to clear that. We don't want to hurt anybody's reputation. So
yeah. Just to double down on that. Obviously, my relationship with Ahmed is sacred, right? That brotherly bond, and especially with him, making his mark in the NFL. I don't want to interfere with him at all, and so the things I share, obviously, will have some insight. But I will clarify, what is coming from him and what is my own take, which might not be what you expect to hear sometimes. So, yeah, I'm really excited to share.
Sounds like my volume dipped a little bit. I knew it would happen, so let me pump it up. You guys cover your ears. Here it goes. These Rode Pod mics are known to be loud, so if it's overly loud, just let me know. But yeah, I ditto everything he just said, man. Look, I'm super excited to have you here, Corey. I think that, there's a different dynamic that we share on the morning show, and it's heavily news driven, and then we get into Lion stuff, and each and every day is different, right? And we kind of get into that news delivery style, and I think with you, you're gonna pull out this different animal in me, the energetic side that Maybe I used to be a little bit more when I was doing 1 hour shows at night, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see where it goes and where it grows, because not only is it going to grow here, but I see the vision of the Corey Best show in the future that's going to explode on your own, man. And that's what I'm excited to see.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Let's
I'm
dip in.
excited.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
excited.
Let's dip into it. So, rookie minicamp came and went way too quick. I guess let's just start with Ahmed's first impression, because that's the closest, I guess, relationship we have to really understanding what's going on inside the building. So, you probably had some conversations with him over the weekend. Kind of give us a taste of Ahmed's first weekend as an NFL athlete, man, as a pro.
Yeah, I think for him it was very similar to anyone's first time on a new job, right? It's a lot of learning the ropes and adjusting to a new environment, new personnel, new relationships, starting to build those relationships, setting up first impressions all over again. I had a great conversation with him last night. Day one was I'm sure exhausting, and so he was in bed early after studying his playbook and getting after it, and so got a chance to really catch up with him last night, and he was telling me a little bit about everything, about the facilities, about his relationships with the coaches, about their personalities, and about some of the the challenges and the successes that he's facing from the jump. He's loving the environment, as we heard in that viral video. He's loving the food that's available. I mean, who doesn't love lobster mac and cheese, right? That was not something I was cooking him when he was a sophomore. That's for sure. Not in the budget, but definitely when you get to the peak of the mountain. And that's something I keep telling him, man, you made it. You're at the NFL. There's no higher level of football than where you're at right now. And so adjusting is something that I think is par for the course. But he belongs. I can tell you this much. He knows that he belongs where he's at right now, not just with the Detroit Lions, but in the NFL. And he's an NFL product. I've always believed it, and he believes it. He knows it, and he's excited to show it to the town, the city of Detroit, and the community of the One Pride community. It's an exciting time for him, and of course, right, like the transition from college for all athletes is going to be difficult, right? And rookie minicamp isn't training camp, and so it's going to be a learning curve for sure. Penei Sewell is not a rookie, that's for sure. So when he lines up and puts on pads, it's going to be fun. But he is chomping at the bit. He is getting after it in every way possible, whether that's studying, staying a little bit extra to get with his coaches to make sure that he's not making the same mistake twice. And yeah, it's an exciting time for him. And I'm just awaiting his phone call every day, like for that catch up, so it's a really, really fun time.
I'm sure that his head is probably just on a swivel right now, but I got to see some of the highlights, and he looked crisp, and he looked fast. His footwork looked really good seeing it from a tape, from a highlight and not right there is way different. But there was another guy that I saw in some of the highlights, and that was Dominic Lovett. And what was he, a 7th round pick out of Georgia? His footwork looked incredible. So
yeah, I think I saw smoke coming from the screen.
Yes, I'm excited to see what he does. But back with Ahmed, man, I think that I was dying laughing when I heard the whole lobster mac and cheese thing, and it's good that he's going to eat well, right? Just don't eat too much, because then you got to work that much harder to get it back off, right?
Well, and there's fines. He found out recently that there are fines if you're overweight or underweight or not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you never know, right?
How do they identify the weight? So do they tell him exactly where he needs to be?
I'm not exactly sure. That's part we didn't go into detail, but he just told me that everything is, whereas in college, right, you might get a slap on the hand. It's like, we're going to fine you. If you're late to a meeting, you're fined, right? If you're not doing your job or whatever, you're missing weight or missing workout, you're fined. And so he's going to make sure that money stays in his pocket, especially with that signing bonus. The only thing he has right now, it's like he's gonna be on his P's and Q's. But I'm not exactly sure how that goes. This might be something that we'll find out in the course of this channel. For sure.
Yeah, that would be great to know, man. To kind of pick at those little questions, like maybe the chat can help us. Every week or two, maybe we can throw a couple of questions together of what we can ask. No guarantees we'll get answers, but maybe what we can ask and see what we can find out. So let's move into the rest of rookie minicamp. And, first impressions were huge. And there are a lot of the things that I read over the weekend, which I've been outside doing yard work. As you can tell, I got some color finally. Didn't have a whole real of an opportunity to dig into things myself, but everything that I read, there was the big scare about Tyreek Williams not participating on day one. And this was communicated as just being safe right after a very long season, with OSU's national championship run. So many speculated that he was injured or still injured after the fall, the pro day fall. That was not the call. That was not the case. And Tyreek clarified that on day one, and he said, it's just a plan that they got me going on right now. It's a long season. I just came off of just being smart. I had a little fall, but I'm all healed from that. Just being smart. I just came off of a long season. So obviously, Corey, I don't know how many times, Boise had long seasons. Honestly, I didn't really watch a ton of their football, but just as a general perspective of college football, this is pretty common stuff, right? I think you see it every year with, some of the top athletes that get drafted that come from the national championship teams, went deep in the playoffs, a much different playoff scenario for the NCAA that we've ever seen. There was multiple games this time, not just, 3. So your take on this, what did you think about?
Yeah. I think it's hard for people who are not, have never played that high of level football. High school football, great. 10-game season, 8-game season, maybe a couple of playoffs games. It's different, right? But a college football season is long, and it's not just the in-season part of it. You have spring ball that leads into summer ball, that leads into fall camp, that leads into the season. And if you're taking a national championship run, you're talking about, a full 4, 5, possibly almost 6 months of grinding. And at the position that Tyreek plays, you don't get plays off. You're not playing corner. You're not playing receiver, right? Where at some point you're not touching people, right? You are in the trenches every dang down.
Mm-hmm.
And especially his role, right? To plug up the inside, you're taking on double teams. You're burying, right? You're setting, you're clogging holes. And that is not an easy job to do. And so there is definitely a plan for maintenance for players to help them sustain their excellence over a long period of time. I know specifically that Ashton Genty, part of him coming back to Boise State for that senior year, he knew that Boise State coaches were going to take care of him because his workload was going to be so heavy during the season that maybe he wasn't going to take so many live reps and team sessions during practices during the fall camp because they know what they have, right? They know what they need when it matters the most, and they're not trying to spoil it when it doesn't matter at all. And so I think that's what Detroit can probably rest assured is knowing that we have great leadership, great personnel. They know what they have in Tyreek. You don't pick somebody in the first round if you have questions, right? And so they're gonna progress him along and get him ready so that when game one rolls around, he's gonna be ready to perform and contribute to the D line.
I agree wholeheartedly. I have no reservations about Tyreek. Matter of fact, I'm glad that the Lions are doing what they're doing right now and giving him a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a easy go. And the second day he participated, I don't think he went full out, but the second day he participated a little bit more than the first day. I think Tyreek's going to jump into this defense and have a big impact. Not only is he going to be filling in for Lee McNeil, but I just read it in one of the comments from another channel where they said, man, I forgot about all of these football players, the Mekhi Wingos, who's injured. You got Lee McNeil who's injured that aren't really in the fold just yet. You have DJ Reader. Now you've thrown in your brother, Ahmad Hassanin, and others, right? Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. The list keeps going. Pat O'Connor. It is a very deep defense. And in last season, the Lions kept, 9, I think, at the beginning of 53-man cuts, and I think they ended up with 10 kind of after some roster gymnastics. How do you think that this works for the Lions this year after going through so many injuries? Obviously, rookie minicamp just getting going. We don't know what we have yet with all the other guys, but how do you think it folds this year for the Lions? Do you think that they're going to try to hold a little bit more in the defensive line, maybe go a little bit deeper, or I don't know. What's your initial thoughts? I know you're kind of newish into the fandom, right? And welcome to the fandom, by the way. That's huge. What do you think? What would be your call? Last year they hold 9. This year maybe they hold 10.
I think it's like you said, I'm new to the fandom, and so it's a great opportunity to me to kind of analyze the roster and analyze, where the successes were maybe in the past and where they can grow. I think that no matter what level of football you're at, having extra guys in the trenches is never a disadvantage, right? There's a reason why the NFL instituted rules that when subs are coming out, so they have to allow defensive subs to come in. It's because you need guys to stay fresh, right? You need guys who are going to be able to go and to have an extra guy or two who can do the job and can rotate in is never going to be a problem for an NFL team. I think that the more depth, the better. And that's across the D line, right? Whether that's inside or on the edges. We got this huge talk about we need edge. Man, I think it never hurts to have more, but health matters, right? And keeping those guys fresh and healthy, especially when you play in the NFC North, right? Especially when you got teams that are it's arguably the best division in all of the NFL. So you're going to need those guys, especially when it gets cold at the end of the year and the pads and those hits are hurting a little bit more. And on to touch on to kind of what we were talking about with Tyreek a little bit, it's like you go into rookie minicamp, there's no pads on, but people are going hard, right? Because they're trying to make a team. They're trying to leave their mark on those coaches and the staff, and they want to be remembered. And so, I mean, my brother was saying, man, I'm taking on pulling guards without pads, but letting them know that I'm not going to back down. That's great. But if that's going on for all off season, then bodies wear down and things happen. So it's definitely not a problem to have more guys in the trenches. Maybe they keep 9, maybe they keep 10. The key is going to be quality, right? We want guys who are going to be able to contribute and get on the field and make an impact. And so that's going to be up to the personnel, the decision makers on the staff. And we'll see what they do. It's exciting time for sure.
So absolutely exciting. And one of our biggest donors and longest tenured audience members and someone I call a friend, Randy, Better the Hunt. He's also in Idaho and he reached out to me as soon as Ahmed was selected. He's like, I can tell you the deets, basically I've watched this guy, I've watched his games. And so Randy, Better the Hunt in the chat, good dude, good people. He wanted to say hi a few times. So I want to make sure that I get that shouted out.
I did see him in there. He asked if my garage was in Idaho. I said, yes, sir. So maybe we have to get in. We have to get together for coffee one time, Randy, in between my broadcasts for sure.
He's in, what is it
Nampa.
called? Nampa. Yeah. I confuse it with
Not
Tampa,
far.
but Nampa.
Not far.
Who else is in the chat today?
We got my dad in the chat.
I just seen that.
All the way from Cairo, Egypt. He said he just got off the phone with Ahmed. He said it's hard but great, which is exactly how it should be, right? Exactly how it should be when you join the NFL. Hard and good.
So, here's a question. I know we didn't talk about this off air or anything. Did he have anything to say about Kelvin Shepherd? So this is his first year as being a DC. Anything he had to say about that you can share? Anything you can say?
Yeah, I mean, he did. He said he loves him. He says he loves his energy. He says he loves his enthusiasm. I mean, I watched Hard Knocks in 2022. I had just moved up to the Boise area. And so getting adjusted, I was sitting there watching Hard Knocks and I fell in love with the coaching staff, with not just Dan Campbell, but there was the relationship between Aaron Glenn and the running backs coach, right? And then you get a little bit of Kelvin Shepherd in there and they all have the juice, right? They all have that fiery mentality and that fiery personality. And I think it fits well with Ahmed. Like he loves coaches that are passionate just like him. And I think that's what you're going to see from Kelvin as the DC. And so, yeah, his first impression was great. He's really excited to prove himself. And he loved Coach Shepherd.
Here's another great question. What is the time in Cairo right now?
Ooh, it's 10 hours different. So if it's 6 p.m.
Call it 7. Yeah. So if it's 6 p.m. here, it's 4 a.m. there.
6 p.m. for me, 10 hours different. So it'd be 8 hours different for you guys in the East Coast.
Ahead or behind?
Ahead. So they're going to be, it's the middle of the night. My
so
dad
it's like 2, 3 a.m. over there.
Being a degenerate. Yeah. I'm telling you right now that my dad has become the world's largest football fan in Egypt. 100%.
He's dedicated. So all these Sunday night games that we're going to be in, he's going to be up super early. Oh, I just said something. I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's going to be up early. I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed
Oh
to
yeah.
say that, man. I had a person text me over the weekend. Every year the schedule comes out, I always get a couple of
Insider tidbits.
insider. Yeah, in last year I kind of hit it. I'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Save it.
Yeah, we'll save that one. That's pretty cool, man. Your dad is up at the wee hours, trying to make sure that he's capturing everything. I love it. All right.
Everything. I'm telling you.
So Calvin Shepard's hitting home runs already, doing a good job. And you know what? That's the one thing that I think that someone like your brother would appreciate just as much as anybody else that's played football at the highest levels that they could possibly play. But these are all former coaches or former football players that a lot of them have played in the NFL as coaches for Detroit. So when you talk about energy, like these guys are still young. Like some of them could still probably play if they really wanted to, but these guys have the energy because they were on that field. They know what it's like. They know what it takes. And to watch a team go from 0 to hero in the middle of, a couple of seasons, in the midst of a couple of seasons, I don't think it happens very often. Matter of fact, I know it doesn't happen very often, especially sustaining that success like the Lions have. Sometimes you have a breakout year and then it falls away the next year. Not for the Lions. They're just kind of on this trajectory, kind of like the channel. When you look at the views, it just kind of just keeps going up a little bit, right? I love it.
Sure.
So he's going to love it, man. And I can only imagine that feeling of being around former guys, that have done it and done it at the highest level in a long time. I think Dan has over 10 years. Calvin, I think, had over 10 years. Mark Brunell had over 10 years. I mean, a lot of these guys have been there and done it for a long time. So he'll enjoy that energy. Let's get into Isaac Tesla. So viral clip over the weekend. And there was a mixture of comments like he doesn't have any separation. And I'm thinking to myself immediately, what are they exactly looking for in rookie camp for separation? Before I say anything, what is your take? A former coach, former wide receivers coach too, right?
Mm-hmm. That's my niche. Yep.
What is your take on what you saw about the few clips that came out from Isaac Tesla in the first couple of days of rookie camp?
Yeah, I was hoping we could show it and break it down, and maybe we'll get to that at another time. But there's levels to this, right? That you've heard that saying. But a couple of things I noticed about that clip specifically. Before we get into that, I mean, you watch the footwork drills and love it, right? You see his feet just firing around those drills, right? The around the world drill where they're coming back for a curl. Both of the drafted receivers look amazing. They just look smooth. They look efficient with their movements, right? Being able to break down, drop their hips, keep their hands moving. Because one of the things you always know is like once your arms stop, your feet stop. So we got to keep chopping through our breaks, right? Coming out so our hands are ready to catch a ball. So those are some of the things I noticed from the drills, but that specific rep you're talking about, there were multiple things to look at. If you pause it really early, you'll notice that the DB, the corner, has slightly inside leverage, right? So that tells you right away, you're going to only use certain types of releases. You're not going to get yourself covered up, right? You're probably going to take an outside release. And the other thing I noticed, it was third and short. If you pause the clip, you can see in the background, it's third and I think about 2. And so he's probably got an option to get outside and run the guy off for a 9. He does not much at the way of, release at the line. He takes the outside early because that's what the DB is giving him. If the DB is shading you inside, the easiest path is to get outside. And so he doesn't do a lot of foot fire. He doesn't do a lot of Devontae Adams setup, right, in that release. He gets outside and takes it early. Now, what a lot of people might not know as well is that you don't always need separation to catch a ball, right? When you're running a go route and that DB is playing man-to-man and he's on your inside hip, there's a thing called a back shoulder ball, which is exactly what was thrown. And his ability to fight hand pressure, right? You see him kind of in maybe a little bit of a push off at one point, but not enough to get the call, right? Because he's not extending his arm, but to get the hands off and to have the body control to pivot around and go up at its high point. Now, it would have been great if he could have snagged it the first time, but hey, you don't get two catches to bobble it and catch it a second time. You only get one reception in the stat book, but he caught it, right? And he was sure about it because he showed you the trophy and he pointed to the first down right after. That's something I teach all my receivers. If it's questionable whether you caught it or not, make sure you show that you had it right away, and do something to make sure that referee is not going to question whether you bobbled it. And so I think his separation, yeah, of course, it wasn't amazing on that route, right? I think he could have done maybe a little more at the line to set up that inside move to get that DB to jump. But once you're in that route and you're battling, what more can you ask for than to build that separation in at the top, to make a play on the ball, and then to come down with it? I think it was a solid rep. I think there's coachable moments in that rep. I think, whether you're on, oh, look at this guy's going to be a star, or this guy's a bust, I think either one of the extremes is probably too drastic at this point. You can't take it from one rep, right? Like, just let's chill a little bit, right? And just realize this is rookie minicamp with no pads on, and the guys are fighting for positions, right, on the defense and the offense. And so I think he's going to be great. I think it's going to take development, right? Like with anyone, like with Ahmed, like with Tyleek, even a first rounder. It doesn't matter whether we traded all the picks or no picks for him, where we picked them. I think these are rookies that are going to have to adjust to NFL, right, speed, NFL techniques. I think his releases obviously are going to have to get better. And you also have to remember that he played the slot in college. He was a power slot essentially, right? And so he's not having to get off the line with press coverage all the time. Most of the time he's making his move in space. And so that's going to be a developmental thing for him. But I think what I saw from that little clip was a lot of great things and a lot of coachable moments. I would love to see him lean against pressure a little bit once he gets even with the guy. But yeah, I mean, if you're even, you're leaving. And if that guy's on your hip, then we're throwing a back shoulder ball on time and we're making catches for first downs instead of touchdowns. But either way, we're moving the chains.
I love the breakdown there. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 things that I wanted to kind of throw out with this after I heard what you said, because what you said is more spot on than what I would have ever given as far as a breakdown of what happened with that. 5'10" corner going up against a 6'3", almost 6'4", wide receiver. So from a wide receiver's perspective in the NFL, you can't take height for granted, right? You even at the college level, you can't take height for granted, because it just might be that 5'10" guy has a 40-inch vertical, and here you think you're just going to go up and high point the ball on him, no big deal. But at the same time, maybe Tesla was thinking, okay, I got this guy in the long game or the tall game. I can go up and get it. He just got to throw up so I can go get it, right? However, we got a guy that just joined the Lions by the name of DJ Reed. I think he's all of 5'9", and he's one of the best corners in the NFL. You want to talk about a guy that'll go up and contest, and these are the things that when DJ's in the house, right, and you're having to go up against DJ from time to time, I think this is where Tesla is going to learn everything that you just pointed out. Use that leverage, right? Lean in exactly like you said, and then take the outside when you can take it. I thought it was a great catch in concentration. The third or fourth thing that I mentioned here, look, it's been one day. It's been one weekend, a couple of short practices. Everyone needs to relax, right? Just like Aaron Rodgers always used to say, just take the chill pill here, because he's got a lot to learn. And it's not going to take long, I think, for Tesla to finally to catch on, right, and to do the thing that he's here to do. Big shout out to Randy Better the Hunt with the $50 donation. He says, more evening shows, Will. I know, Randy. I know. I'll get to it. I promise you. Corey's here now, so maybe we'll be able to make that happen. Thanks for the shout out to Corey. And he said, Corey, he'll buy coffee whenever you can meet up. So he's a great dude, man. Owns a business out in Idaho. He's got a great family out there. Really, really, really nice dude. I got to be part of his first Detroit Lions game last year at home at Ford Field, and it was a great experience to be part of that that experience. He shares
a name with my hero, so he's good in my book, man. That's my grandpa's name was Randy, so yeah, you got an A in my book so far, brother.
There we go.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's see, J-Rod, does Ahmed have any coverage knowledge or skill set? That's a question for Corey. So, I mean, Corey knows all about Ahmed's coverage knowledge and skill set. So break that one down for me if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his probably his first or second or third skill, right? But it's something that they began to integrate into his ability set, right? At Boise State, more scheme specific, right? So obviously, you're not taking a guy who's 270 and dropping him back into coverage often. That's not his strength, right? You want him rushing that passer, but But to throw off a defense, an offense, and drop him back when you expect that he's going to be rushing, it's something that was used really strategically, and he did a great job at it. I remember specifically one time probably losing my mind in the thing because he covered a running back out of the backfield, and the quarterback thought he had him open, and all of a sudden Ahmed was there, and it's like, never mind, there's a wall in front of that dude. So yeah, I'm probably not going to throw there, and I think everything that's going to happen at this NFL level is just going to keep getting more developed, more refined. And that's going to be one of those skills that he gets to kind of embrace at that top level, right? Those techniques that the NFL coaches are going to teach him are going to be exactly what he needs to know and what he's going to work on. So it's just another tool in the tool belt for him coming up.
I love it. And for everybody that's in the chat, maybe you're going to be watching later, listening later, by all means, ask the questions. I will try to get to them as much as possible. I just put a note into the email for a segment that maybe we do something called questions, for Corey. I think that it'd be great to we're going to leverage his knowledge, and the more we can learn, the better, right? We don't have a better asset than what we have right now. So we'll let Corey define it, and we'll figure it out. So let's see. Bo Booth says Hutch has dropped into coverage a few times. He has. He definitely has. I don't think that's his sweet spot either, though. I mean, they need to get after the quarterback. And how would you say, if you were to, I guess, to rank or give us a rank on where you see his skill set, Ahmed's skill set, what's he best at? Like, is hand fighting a good technique for him? Because what I envisioned and what I saw in some tape is his hand fighting seemed to be superior. And I'm wondering, is that because of the MMA background or, the CrossFit or anything else that he did when he was overseas, right? What helped him develop those traits more so than practice? Was there anything he did outside of practice?
To be completely honest, I think it's built into him. Like, I think it's probably part of, his background, right? You don't do a bunch of jujitsu and not learn how to, get somebody's hands off of you. But honestly, I think he's got the dog in him that it's like if you get a dog and it's a specific breed, that dog has certain characteristics, right? And you're not going to ask a Chihuahua to do certain things. You're going to ask a Pit Bull to do other things, and you're going to ask a Great Dane to do other things. And I think part of him is just his makeup. He is a freaking physical, like imposing dude, and so he wants to take on the challenge, right? He wants to take on a hit. He doesn't want to back down. He's not that type of guy. And so you ask, what is his top skill set? It's his physicality. It is his leverage, his built-in leverage. I mean, almost every offensive tackle is 6'4", 6'5",
or better,
6'6", or bigger, right? Because of their wingspan and the just the pure logistics about turning the corner on a guy who's got a giant wingspan is more difficult. Well, when you're 6'5", 6'6", your leverage is not naturally low to the ground. When you got a dude who's 6'2.5" and 270 pounds and squats 650 or whatever, right? And can bench press, way more than you, right? Then his speed to power and his natural leverage is going to be a challenge. And I think that is his probably best attribute at this point. But it's just something that's going to get better, right? With NFL coaching and NFL technique, and especially with a pass rush plan. I think when we were discussing, what's different between this first couple of days of rookie camp and what he did for 3-4 years at Boise State, especially when he got moved out to the edge, responsibilities are different, right? There's a little more freedom as an NFL football player on how you adapt to the players around you. And if one guy gets up the field, your ability to kind of loop back inside or loop back around or spin back to the inside. At Boise State, it was scheme specific. Hey, we want you on the field side. We want you to stop any run coming your direction because, right, we want to force all runs back into the boundary. And if we got pulling guards, we're taking them on. And if we're rushing the passer, you're using that power. You're not letting him outside the pocket. Well, if that is your responsibility and you're going to do your job no matter what, then that limits your ability to spin, right? Your ability to come back inside or some of these other things. And so I think he's excited about like the opportunity to do more, right? To continue to develop some of those skills that he maybe didn't get to use as much at Boise State. Not that he couldn't do them, but he didn't have the opportunity to do them because he wasn't asked to do them. It was part of his scheme specific responsibility. And so, yeah, I mean, his speed to power, right? And there was even a comment, I think he had a long arm in one of the, first days, and they were like, his arms aren't that long, but he's able to long arm. Yeah, that's because he's got that natural leverage. And when you do it right, it's hard to stop. And so I think that's going to be something he'll use throughout those first, his kind of his bread and butter, but he's excited to develop off of that. And just like a receiver gets up to the line of scrimmage, it has multiple releases and a counter release, right? For what that DB is going to do. He's going to develop that type of pass rush plan when he gets on the line, and his ability to do it and his ability to be coachable and learn fast at this next level is going to be one of his biggest strengths.
So one of the things I talk about a lot, and it's something that I haven't really seen a whole lot of channels or analysts or, body type guys that talk about exactly what you're talking about, being able to long arm or, utilizing, all of your physical traits to help you. One, I'm always talking about arm length, right? Everyone in the chat knows this. Like I'm excited to see what Ahmed does, but I always love to have my DEs be with, 33.5-inch arms or longer, depending on what you're being used for, is number one. But that was always the threshold. What are his arms? 32.25, I think 32.25. But here's the difference. If you don't have a big ape index, have you ever heard of ape index utilized in the college? Okay, so here's what it is. It's your wingspan divided by your height. Mm-hmm. Okay, so your wingspan is center of the breastbone to the tip of your fingers, right? So when you have a long wingspan compared to your height, you're able to get long from your breastbone to the tips of your fingers, which were exactly where Ahmed is able to long arm, is because his ape index is 1.06. Okay, so it's good. So the average ape index in the NFL is 1.03.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. And the elite of the elite, longer. So the elite of the elite are like 1.09, 1.08. Rarely do you see a guy get 1.10. So these are the little finite details of the things that I study because I'm a stat nerd. I'm an analytic nerd. And I hope that it brings good conversation. I know it has for this channel and the people that listen, but it's little stuff like that will tell me, does this guy even have a chance? Right?
Yeah.
Here's the flip side of that. Aiden Hutchinson also has 32.25-inch arms, I believe, but his ape index is 0.99. So even though he's 6'7", his wingspan's like, so what was that, 79 inches? So his wingspan, I think, is right around 79.75 or 8. It's like, it's less than, right? It's less than his height. So that's not good. So I think that's where guys develop the spin move, or guys develop a different way to get home. Let me follow up on this question that kind of came out of the chat. Do you think he's better at setting the edge, or do you think he's better at getting after the quarterback? You could say both, but his stats, where was his stats? So 17 quarterback hits, 62 total pressures, 15.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. I think that was just last year, and 24 career sacks, which is 4th in program history. So it's not like his stats are, they don't tell a story, because they do. But
when he played defensive tackle his first 2 years.
Oh boy. So I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you have to remember he came in as a D tackle. So he played behind Scott Matlock, right? So now defensive tackle for the Chargers and part-time fullback, right? So NFL dude in front of him his freshman year, NFL dude in front of him again his sophomore year, and then he transitions halfway through the year to the edge to get him more PT. But he was behind George Tarlas, who got an invite to rookie mini camps for the Raiders. And so 2 NFL level dudes that were in front. If he had a full season as a sophomore, I guarantee he's not 4th in program history in sacks. I promise. And again, when all the attention started focusing on him, because he's preseason defensive player of the year for Mountain West going into his senior year. So the guy who wins it, Jackson Woodard, just got let go, I think, from one of the NFL mini camps. He was the guy that everyone had eyes on. So the entire league and the entire conference is game planning around Ahmed, he still has 9.5 sacks. He's still, top 20 in the entire NCAA, right? These are things that the average fan, the average, who sees sixth rounder and these types of things might not understand. But when you look deeper than the surface level, you understand that this is a guy who's produced every opportunity and then some. And with only 5 years of high level experience, I mean, if you talk about real experience, probably just Boise State. Count just Boise State, because like I said, our high school was not the most developed football program. So you're taking the coaching he's getting at Boise State and you're producing at that level. What is the trajectory, right? If this is a stock you're wanting to buy, you're buying now, right? Like it's only going to get higher. And so I think that what people might not be thinking, the casual fan might not be realizing, is that his trajectory is through the moon, and his production is representative of how much he's grown up to this point. And obviously talent's going to get, better as he gets to the NFL, and it's going to be a challenge to produce at that level. But shoot, we got 17 games, right? We have higher level coaching, guys to learn from. You have Aiden Hutchinson, you got all these other guys who have done it, who know the secrets, the ins and outs. Like you said earlier, you have coaches who have played in the NFL and know exactly what it takes to perform there. I think he's on a good path, and the future is definitely bright.
1,000%. I mean, he has some amazing people in front of him and around him to learn from. Let's get into, I know we got maybe just a few more minutes here to wrap up on a couple more topics. So we kind of got into Ahmed's first impression. We talked about Isaac Tesla. We talked about Tyleik Williams. I want to wrap it up with Tyrion Arnold and get out of rookie camp for just a moment, because there's been a few publications over the last week where they're talking about, year two biggest jumps and, which guys are going to have the biggest breakout seasons of year two. And Tyrion Arnold's name gets thrown around. I had the very lucky happenstance to run into Tyrion Arnold when I was at the first day of the draft, right? I'm walking back to actually leave to go back to the hotel, and there he is with, I believe, some of his family and friends. And we just happened to run up on him, and we start talking to him, and I'm saying, man, so what's up for year two? What do you think's ahead of you? And, are you going to have a big jump? What are you thinking? And he's like, yeah. And we started talking and getting into it. And I said, you had all those ticky-tacky penalties. He's like, yeah. He's like, I had 8, like in the first 4 games. But then after that, it was 1 or 2, very sporadic through like the last, 14 games of the season, basically. He was getting targeted by the refs. I mean, it was very ticky-tacky stuff that usually wouldn't be called. But he was a rookie, and he was targeted. So it is what it is. He feels he's going to have a big breakout year. I think he's going to have a big breakout year. But my reason is more so because of what he did towards the end of his first season, which you talk about the trajectory, right? That stock market, it was just going straight up. The way that he played, he didn't get any interceptions, but that doesn't mean that you're not a good football player. It doesn't mean that you're not a good corner. He had a lot of pass breakups, a lot of passes defensed. But that second breakout year, the game for me starts to slow down for these guys big time in year two. And I think that is what is going to allow him to break out in year two. Now, you've been around some pretty good football players. What do you think year two would look like for a standard corner in the NFL versus Tyrion Arnold? What do you think about Tyrion Arnold?
Yeah, I was able to do a little bit of research and watch some of his highlights and read some of the perspectives about him from his rookie year. I think like you were saying, when the game slows down for these guys, every rookie goes through the learning curve, right? Everyone tells you the NFL is faster, right? Just like from high school to college, it gets faster. From college to the NFL, it gets faster. And you might be asked to do things outside of what you did in your college scheme, right? I don't know how much zone versus man coverage he played when he was at Alabama, but he played predominantly man. And when I looked at the PFF stats, he had, I think it was like up in the top 20 of total snaps. So there's no better way to learn than getting thrown in the fire, right? And yeah, you're going to have some mistakes. You're going to get some penalties. Ahmed was grabbing face masks and throwing people all over the place when he first learned the game, right? Obviously, it's not like that level, but shoot, if you're asked to guard Justin Jefferson, right? Some of these top receivers, some of the best football players in the entire world in man coverage, which might not be something you've done a lot of, man, you're going to have, a couple bumps and bruises, right? You're going to have to take on the chin. But I looked back and looked at some of those highlights. He probably had 2 interceptions that he should have had. And if I talked to him personally, there's one I remember Josh Allen throwing back across his body, and I think one of our own guys defended him, right? And he drops the interception. Another one, he makes a play back on the ball and beats the receiver to it, but it's not a great throw, and so it gets into the dirt. It's like those coin flip plays, right? They go the other direction. He has 2 interceptions. We're not talking about him the same way, right? We're not talking about that rookie season being a bust or whatever. And so I think as a player, those things, right? You know what you could or couldn't have done, which plays might have slipped through your hands, or if you just do this one technique differently, then that guy doesn't get open and score a touchdown or so on and so forth. And so being a predominantly man corner, I saw a lot of things that I liked from him. I loved his patience. I always teach my receivers, you got to be the counter puncher, right? Because that DB at some point, when you get on his toes, is going to have to throw hands. It's going to have to, open his hips. It's going to have to decide to cover you. And if you can hand fight late, then you're at the advantage as a receiver. Well, the same goes for the other side of the ball. If you're a corner and you're patient and you're working your back pedal and then you're striking, which were things that I saw were really good from him, man, like you can build off of that. And it's only going to get easier. Like the first time you guard Justin Jefferson, I guarantee it's a freaking like a whirlwind, man. Like that dude is the real deal. But it's like play after play, snap after snap, you realize I can do this. These guys aren't anything special, right? I'm that guy. And it's a confidence that comes with experience. And so I think there's nothing better than being thrown into the fire, than getting snaps under your belt. And yeah, I can't imagine that we're not going to see a huge jump in just, playmaking ability and just pure confidence and comfortability, right? From Tyrion Arnold and the rest of, those young players who are looking to develop, whether that's on the O-line, the defensive backfield, wherever they are, man, it doesn't hurt to get reps and get extra snaps and experience. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
So here's the funny thing. In the last game of the season, I was on with Thor Nystrom, who's like Vikings royalty, and he works for Fantasy Life. Real good dude. And I said, when they go into this game, I want to see them do the exact opposite of what they should do, right? So you almost take your worst corner, which I didn't mean to say that Amik was the worst corner, but that's what I was saying. Like, take your second, your third best corner, put it on Justin Jefferson, put, Tyrion on, the other corner, and watch what happens, right? Rotate your safeties in. Well, that's exactly the play calls that Aaron Glenn rolled with, and we steamrolled the Vikings. It was the best defense I've ever seen yet. Couldn't believe that they actually called the defense the way that I was hoping that they were going to do. But when Tyrion had to go back and guard Justin Jefferson, shut him down. Completely shut him down. I was so nervous for him to be on Justin Jefferson, twice that season, but he played incredibly well against one of the best receivers. Actually, it was only once that season. I think JJ was out the first game. He played incredibly well. Tyrion's got the gift, man. I think that he's going to be an extremely, extremely good corner. He had 8 PBUs last year, only allowed 56 catches, 13 yards per reception allowed. You could blame that on the defense. 99 passer rating allowed. Again, we are in this bend but don't break. When you're up by 20 points, 25 points a lot in games, you kind of, go to this relaxed defense quite a bit. I hope they don't this year. I hope they just keep that gas pedal pressed. But yeah. Overall, I don't care about his PFF numbers. I mean, PFF for me, I use it for the stats. I don't really. The grades are great. It gives you a starting point, but unless you watch the film, the numbers don't even mean anything to me anymore. You really got to watch the film or watch the games at least. So I'm excited to see where he goes this year. We always do a final 30 when we do a wrap up. So today is our first show together. It's just kind of a test run today, just feeling it out. I think it's gone well. From what I'm seeing in the chat, these guys and ladies are super excited about what's next. So why don't you go ahead and give us a final 30 of rookie minicamp, anything you want to talk about, and what's next.
Yeah. One more thing about Tyrion Arnold, man, that dude could tackle, right? Like I was watching him come up and wrap up on receivers in the open field and on tight ends, and he wraps up. I love it. You got to have a corner that can get off a freaking block and come up and make a play. That's awesome. But man, I'm really grateful and blessed to be here, right? It's an amazing thing to have your brother make it to the NFL. It is a blessing. It is something I never expected, but I did expect. I didn't expect it before he showed up, and now, I feel like I'm part of the mix, and I'm extremely grateful and excited to you, Will, to have me on, to be a part of this channel, to have the chat, support from the chat. Would love feedback from you guys and what you want to hear, what type of content you would like us to make. I'm really ready to jump into this head first with you, Will, and help build this channel, help build One Pride to the best that it can be. And I think this avenue, this resource is going to be great for fans, for everybody in the community. And so would love, your feedback on what you guys want from me, from us, from what you'd like to see. I love talking football. I love talking the personal side of things. I like, I think I'm funny sometimes. You never know. We'll find out about that, right? But you guys can be the judge of that. I just love, just all aspects of this and approaching it and dissecting it from every angle. I'm really excited to be here. Really excited about what's ahead, and just grateful and blessed to be here. So thank you, Will. Thank God for this opportunity, and excited for what's ahead, no doubt.
Well, Ben, I'm the one that's blessed. I mean, I'm the one that got the opportunity to have you on, as a guest interview, which was, I mean, bar none, one of the best I think that I've done. And to have an opportunity to have you back a second time, not only as, like doing an interview, but to have you part of the channel. I think that this channel is going to grow immensely. But like I've always said from the very beginning, there's a door that is Corey Bess's show. I promise you it is there. And whenever it gets there, it gets there. But look, this fan base is going to shroud you in love. I promise you, they're really good. You get a few trolls from here, from time to time. We just brush it off our shoulder. It's no big deal. But this fan base, this audience, this group, this community that we've built here through Rockhound are some of the best fans. And you know what? The ones that aren't here are some of the best fans too. We just don't know them yet. So once we get to know them, hey, the more the merrier. So I'm glad to have you here, man. I can't wait to see what we do next. But you heard Corey. He thinks he's funny. So the next show is going to be Stand Up Corey.
I'm already standing. What do you mean?
There you go. See, he's got it. We're going to put him on the stand-up mic. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know when we're going to jump back in, but I'll be back tomorrow on the Rise and Grind morning show. I think it's a solo mission tomorrow. I can't remember if Eric is in tomorrow, if he's off tomorrow or not, but we'll find out in a few moments.
Maybe you'll see me.
Maybe we'll see you. We'll communicate obviously after the show, and then the rest of you guys in the show, again, appreciate the $5 super chat by Michael Garrity. I can't forget. Let me get you queued up here with something. I totally forgot to get Randy.
Dude, I got to get out of this garage. It's freaking warm in here.
Yeah, you do. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. We'll see you guys in the Rise and Grind morning show tomorrow. Corey, have a good night, man. I'll talk to you in a few moments. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Hey yo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. Against all odds. Against all odds.